and welcome back to Magic in the Muck, a soul's compass for change. I'm Jennifer Nagel, and I'm so glad that you're here with me today. If you listened to last week's episode with Anastasia Lundholm, you'll know that we went deep into the ways the body remembers, how it speaks to us, and how sometimes it carries patterns that didn't even begin with us. There was a lot of richness in that conversation, and so I thought today, there's one piece that I want to go a little deeper with. Something that I think a lot of us forget when life moves so fast. And that's around how our bodies usually whisper long before it ever yells. Now, I want to be clear here, because when there's shock or trauma, accidents, or deeply overwhelming experiences, the body doesn't whisper first. It shouts because it has to. That's about pure survival and protection. What I want to talk about today are the quieter, the everyday signals that we override. Those, the small tensions, the pauses, the micro holding of the breath. The ways that our body sends early invitations before things build up. These are so subtle, and they do show up long before stress becomes overwhelming. Most of us only pay attention once the yelling starts. So today, I would like to, my hope is to gently pull us back to those early, quieter signals, the subtle shifts and the little sensations that are almost imperceptible. These are the nudges that we tend to override or dismiss or push past. This episode is short and simple on purpose, with the hope of guiding you back into your body, slowly and gently. One of the things that Anastasia said last week that stayed with me, she talked about those early flags, the little signs that something in the body is asking for attention, and how when we don't listen, those flags get bigger and then louder, and then finally the body just pulls out the megaphone. Most of us learn to respond only at the megaphone stage, when the headache is full blown, or the chest is tight, or our thoughts are just spinning constantly. I know that's how it was for me. I spent years ignoring early signs that I needed to slow down and rest more. I completely ignored, dismissed, pushed past the early signs of MS until the megaphone came out loud. You can go back and listen to episode 1 if you want to hear more about that part of my story. The truth is, the body always gives us an earlier doorway in. It just whispered, and we just didn't pay attention. So the whisper usually feels like something small, maybe a tiny clench in the jaw, a shallow breath. Even the shoulders lifting a few millimeters. As I say that, I notice my shoulders are a little bit higher than they normally are. Became aware and let them drop. Maybe a flicker of irritation or a random ache that just appears. A heaviness that we can't explain, a fatigue. Let's look at these whispers as invitations. They're not inconveniences. It's the body's way of saying that something needs your attention. It's saying, just notice me. So why do we miss these whispers? I think that we miss these subtle signals for so many understandable reasons. We're busy, we're caretaking, we're in our heads, or we're trying to get through the day. And we're also never taught that the first sensation matters. I think a lot of us grew up pushing past feelings just to cope. So the whisper stage feels almost ignorable. The body's saying, hey, and we're saying, not now, until eventually it gets loud enough that we have no choice. So this episode is hopefully about reclaiming that earlier window, that tiny moment when the body offers a gentle tug on your sleeve instead of a full shutdown. Maybe we can shift the pattern of the way things have been and start to listen more closely and pay attention. So let's look at some of the common whisper signals. Maybe I'll share the most common ones that I see in my clients, and honestly in myself too. There's the micro hold in the breath. It's so small, and it often happens like right before we answer a question or make a decision or say yes when we mean no. There's that little moment of holding in the breath, or just that a slight freeze. Another common whisper is the tiny contraction. It might be in the stomach or in the throat, in the shoulders, the jaw, or even behind the eyes. And maybe it only lasts for a second or two, but it's real. Another common whisper is that internal flinch. That subtle pulling back on the inside, even while we might be smiling on the outside. This is especially common for those of us who learned to override our instincts. So even if you notice just one of these in your day, congratulations, because you've heard the whisper. That alone, just paying attention, hearing and acknowledging, is also part of the healing journey. So a gentle practice to catch the whisper. Let's take a moment, wherever you are, to come back into your body. Nothing dramatic, just awareness. So if you're walking, keep walking. If you're sitting, feel yourself supported. Feel gravity. Just letting yourself sink 1 or 2% more into whatever is holding you. Just a soft exhale into the earth. And notice your breath, just as it is. Shallow or deep, tight or open. There's no right breath here. Just breathe. And then just allow yourself to scan your body for the smallest sensation. Not the biggest, not the loudest, not the most dramatic. See if you can tune into the tiniest sensation that you feel. Maybe a tiny tightness, or a slight warmth, or slight cold, or a flutter, a tingling or a buzz. Whatever shows up first, that's the whisper. And let's just acknowledge it. Just saying internally, I hear you, or I feel you. And maybe you might feel something shift, or you might feel nothing at all. Either way, you're listening. As I tune into my own body, what started as a slight, tiny, warmth, tingling sensation, when I give my focus to it and acknowledge it, it actually got louder and bigger. Almost as if it's saying, you hear me, here I am. So, however you're listening, that is enough. Why is it important for us to listen early? You might be wondering. I think that when we learn to honor these quieter signals, a few beautiful things can happen. It allows us to catch stress long before it spirals into something huge. We can also soften old patterns instead of reenacting them. By tuning in, we can make clearer choices and meet ourselves with compassion sooner. So listening sooner, having more compassion sooner, can allow for a complete change in the trajectory of where the whispers might lead to if we ignore them, if we continue to ignore them. And also, we treat our bodies with respect, with the respect that we offer everyone else. Do you ever notice that? We can be so cruel to ourselves and mean to our bodies. And listening early is an act of self-respect. And it's a partnership with your body. It's a quiet act of hope, saying, my inner world is worth hearing, even if it's in its smallest voice. So as we close today, I want to invite you into one simple question for the rest of this week. Just invite yourself to pay attention to the first signal that your body gives you each day. Not the big one and not the dramatic one, just the very first. And then if you feel called, place a hand on that spot, even for 2 seconds, and just acknowledge it. I see you. I feel you. Your body has been waiting for this kind of relationship with you for a very long time. So I think that's going to bring us to a close for today's episode. I want to thank you for being here with me today and coming along on this journey with me. And thank you for listening, not just with your mind, but with your body. If this episode resonated with you, or if you noticed even one whisper, I'd love to hear about it. Until next time, take good care of your inner world. Keep listening for the whispers, and keep finding the magic in the muck. Thank you. Thank you for being here with me on Magic in the Muck. If today stirred something in you, and you're ready to walk this path more deeply, I invite you to join the Soul Compass Circle, a journey of reflection, connection, and soul-aligned living. You don't have to do this alone. Just visit the link in the show notes to step into the circle. I look forward to meeting you there.
I'm Michelle Abraham, founder of the High Vibe Podcast Network, and we're honored to have Jennifer Nagel's show Magic in the Muck as part of our network family. For more inspiring shows like this one, visit highvibepodcastnetwork.com, and don't forget to grab your free gifts from our hosts in the gift fold. Stay high vibe and keep sharing your light.